She witnessed the human's unarmed fury and whispered, "That warrior belongs to me." Kalyra, one of the most feared warriors in the galaxy, sat silently in her elevated seat, her eyes scanning the competitors as they prepared for the preliminary matches. Her movements were precise, deliberate, betraying none of the anticipation that coursed through her veins. She had seen thousands of fighters come and go, each trying to prove themselves in the arena, and most had failed spectacularly. But today was different. Her attention fell on a figure that seemed entirely out of place. Unlike the others, he carried no visible weapons. His frame was smaller than the typical warrior she was accustomed to, yet there was a calm in his posture that made him seem larger than life. He moved with ease, his gaze steady and confident as if he already knew the outcome of the battles before they even began. Kalyra leaned forward slightly, her keen eyes narrowing as she watched him. "That warrior is mine," she whispered, almost without thinking, the words escaping like a secret promise to herself. The human, Marcus, was new to the interstellar combat scene, having come from a world largely ignored by most galactic powers. On Earth, he had spent his life learning to move efficiently, to anticipate the actions of others, and to rely on his instincts rather than brute force or advanced weaponry. No one in the arena could have expected a human to survive against trained alien warriors, much less stand out. Yet here he was, exuding a quiet strength that was impossible to ignore. As the preliminary round began, Marcus stepped into the central platform, a simple square of reinforced metal suspended over a pit designed to showcase the combatant's skill. Around him, other warriors wielded advanced weapons, blades that shimmered with energy, staffs that could crush stone, and gauntlets capable of projecting plasma fields. Marcus did not flinch. He simply observed. The first opponent charged, a hulking Xyrathi brute with 3 arms and eyes that burned with ferocity. Most fighters would have panicked, but Marcus only shifted his weight slightly, sidestepping with fluid precision. When the brute swung, Marcus caught the momentum, using it to unbalance the attacker and send him sprawling across the platform. The audience gasped. It was not merely a victory, it was a display of skill so refined it seemed almost unnatural. Kalyra's eyes sparkled with interest. She had seen many warriors fall in such a manner, but none had handled combat with such effortless grace. Marcus did not rely on his strength. He relied on timing, anticipation, and understanding the enemy's body. Every movement was calculated, yet it appeared completely spontaneous, as if he were dancing rather than fighting. The next opponent approached, an armored alien with 6 sharp limbs that could slice through metal. Marcus watched, analyzed, and waited. The alien attacked aggressively, but Marcus flowed around every strike, redirecting force, using leverage, and turning the alien's own momentum against it. Within moments, the armored creature was off balance, and a gentle push sent it tumbling into the pit below. The arena erupted in a mixture of cheers and disbelief. Kalyra's interest was now fully captured. She leaned closer, her hand resting lightly on the armrest. Her mind raced. This human was not just lucky. He was exceptional. There was a raw instinct, a natural understanding of combat that no alien training could teach. The way he moved, reacted, and adapted was beyond what she had ever witnessed. When the round ended, Marcus returned to the waiting area, bowing respectfully to the judges and acknowledging the crowd with a slight nod. There was humility in his actions, a quiet confidence that only heightened Kalyra's fascination. She wanted to know more. She wanted to test him herself. Later, in a quieter section of the arena, Kalyra approached him. She did not introduce herself formally, did not give any titles or expect recognition. She simply extended a hand, and her voice was calm but firm. "You are extraordinary. I would like to spar with you." Marcus studied her for a moment, noting the aura of power surrounding her. There was a sharpness in her eyes, a keen intelligence that could match her physical prowess. yet he sensed no hostility in her request. "I would be honored," he replied, his voice steady, carrying the same calm that had defined him throughout the matches. The sparring ground was a private chamber, a place where warriors could test their skills without interruption. It was circular, with a smooth floor designed to prevent injury while still allowing for real combat movements. Kalira and Marcus faced each other, each assessing the other with careful precision. She was armed with her traditional blades, yet Marcus remained unarmed. This did not seem to faze him in the slightest. Kalira struck first, moving with the speed and precision of a seasoned warrior. Marcus blocked, sidestepped, and redirected her attacks with fluidity that surprised even her. Every move she made, he anticipated, not through knowledge of her style, but through an innate understanding of motion and balance. She struck harder, faster, attempting to overwhelm him, yet he adapted instantly, countering without aggression, without force, yet always in control. Minutes passed like moments, and the intensity grew. Kalira's respect for Marcus deepened with each exchange. Here was a being unarmed, yet unmatched in skill. Her previous encounters with other warriors had taught her that power often came from weapons, enhancements, or sheer strength. Marcus had none of these, and yet he was a master. Finally, she stepped back, breathing slightly heavier than usual but smiling. "You are unlike anything I have seen before," she said. There was awe in her voice, tempered with excitement. "Tell me, human, how do you move like this?" Marcus shrugged, his expression calm. "I focus on what my opponent is doing. I try to understand their intent, their balance, their weaknesses, that's all." His simplicity belied the depth of his skill. "I don't rely on weapons. I rely on myself." Kalira's eyes glinted. There was fire in her spirit now, a spark that had not existed before. She had seen warriors who wielded technology, aliens who had trained for centuries, yet none had moved with such clarity and purpose. "Then I will claim you as my partner in the upcoming tournament," she whispered again, her voice carrying that same secret intensity. "That warrior is mine." Word of Marcus's skill began to spread quietly among the arena's staff and the outer audience. Few believed a human could achieve such feats, but those who saw him firsthand knew it was true. He became a topic of speculation, admiration, and a quiet threat to the established order. Kalira watched the reactions with a mix of amusement and strategy. This human was more than just a fighter. He was a symbol, a revelation. As night fell over the arena complex, Marcus returned to his modest quarters, unaware of the growing attention. He trained quietly, repeating movements, honing balance, and preparing for what was to come. There was a peace in his routine, a focus that others could not disrupt. And Kalira, standing atop the observation deck, watched him train from a distance. She felt a rare sensation, anticipation that was personal, professional, and deeply curious all at once. The galaxy would soon witness something extraordinary. A human, unarmed yet unmatched, stood ready to challenge centuries of expectation. Kalira knew this, and with her sharp mind and formidable skill, she would ensure that this warrior not only survived but thrived. And so the stage was set. The first part of the journey had begun, not with chaos, not with violence, but with skill, observation, and mutual recognition. The whispers would grow, the anticipation would rise, and the story of Marcus, the unarmed human, would spread across the stars, captivating all who dared to watch. By the time the first light of the next cycle reached the arena, Marcus had already begun preparing for the next round, unaware that eyes, both friendly and hostile, were watching him, waiting for the moment to test this human whose skill had already begun to rewrite the rules of the galaxy. Marcus woke early, before the arena stirred with activity. The rising sun cast pale light across the training grounds, and the soft hum of distant engines from ships orbiting the arena created a steady rhythm. He moved slowly, stretching his limbs, feeling each muscle respond and remembering the flow of yesterday's sparring match. Though he had won his preliminary fights, he knew the challenges ahead would be far greater. The next opponents were not only stronger but trained for centuries to fight beings like him. He could not rely solely on instinct. Kalyra watched him from a distance, leaning against the edge of a balcony overlooking the grounds. She noticed how Marcus did not waste energy, how each motion was deliberate and controlled. Even when performing simple stretches, there was grace, balance, and readiness in every gesture. To her, it was like watching a predator in the wild, calm, aware, and capable of reacting instantly to any threat. She allowed herself a small smile. She had already made her decision. She would stand by him, not as a mentor, not as a guide, but as an ally who would ensure the galaxy did not destroy what it had yet to understand. The arena's staff began their morning routines, preparing for the next round of matches. Marcus moved through them without distraction, his focus absolute. He trained with shadows, simulating attacks, imagining the weight and force of every strike he might face. Despite the simplicity of his methods, there was a precision that no weapon could replicate. Each motion, each step, each dodge carried intent. He was not just defending himself, he was studying, analyzing, and adapting. By midday, Marcus's attention shifted to Kalyra. She approached silently, her steps quiet despite the metallic echo of the arena floor. "I hope you slept well," she said lightly, her eyes scanning him with the same analytical focus she applied in battle. "Today's opponents are not ordinary. They will be fast, strong, and cunning." Marcus nodded. "I know, I am ready. But I will need to stay sharp." His tone was calm, almost serene, yet it carried an edge of quiet determination that made Kalyra pay even closer attention. Humans were fragile compared to most species here, yet there was something in him that transcended weakness. Kalyra led him to a secluded part of the arena, a combat simulation chamber. Here, holographic opponents could replicate the fighting styles of the galaxy's most skilled warriors. The simulations were complex, unpredictable, and sometimes lethal if underestimated. Marcus stepped inside without hesitation. The chamber adjusted, and holographic opponents appeared, moving faster than the eye could track. He moved immediately, dodging, countering, and redirecting each attack. Kalyra watched, noting how he did not fight with aggression but with strategy. He studied every opponent, learned their patterns instantly, and exploited weaknesses with minimal effort. It was mesmerizing. She had trained with warriors who could crush entire teams, but she had never seen combat handled in such an intuitive, almost effortless way. After hours of training, Marcus stepped out, his body sweating but his mind clear. Kalyra approached him again. "You are remarkable," she said, her voice carrying genuine awe. "But today is only the beginning. The tournament is not about single fights. Politics, alliances, and expectations will all play a role. Do you understand?" Marcus nodded. "I do. I cannot fight everyone and I will need allies, but I will face each challenge as it comes. That is all I can do." Kalyra studied him, realizing he had not only skill but the mindset of a true warrior. Few in the galaxy combined instinct, intelligence, and humility in this way. She felt a rare excitement, the kind that came only when one saw true potential emerge. "Good. Then we begin," she said. The next round started in the early evening, and the arena was crowded with spectators, their alien forms casting strange shadows across the platform. Marcus stepped into the arena calmly, his gaze steady. He could hear the murmurs among the crowd, speculation, disbelief, admiration. Many had expected him to falter, but now they watched with curiosity. His first opponent was a skilled Varnak fighter, known for lightning-fast strikes and unpredictable movement. The Varnak leaped and struck with blinding speed, attempting to overwhelm Marcus immediately. Marcus sidestepped, flowing around the attacks, his body moving like water around rocks. Each strike from the Varnak was neutralized by his anticipation, not with strength but with understanding. Within moments, the Varnak was off balance, and Marcus used a simple motion to disarm and subdue the warrior. The audience reacted with shock and awe. Even the judges whispered to one another, noting that the human's ability to adapt seemed beyond any previous experience. Kalira's eyes followed every motion, her admiration deepening. He had not only survived, he had excelled, surpassing expectations in ways that were difficult to comprehend. As Marcus moved to his next match, rumors began to spread among the competitors. A human, unarmed and underestimated, had defeated two of the most skilled fighters in the arena. Whispers traveled quickly. How is this possible? No human has survived this long before. Kalira has claimed him. That explains everything. Marcus remained focused, oblivious to the growing attention. He faced each opponent individually, learning their movements instantly, adapting his strategy and exploiting weaknesses with precision. He did not attack aggressively, but every motion was purposeful. His style was unfamiliar to the other fighters, who relied on brute force or technology. They could not predict him, could not anticipate his counters, and were forced into positions they had never encountered before. Kalira, watching from the sidelines, felt a mixture of pride and caution. She knew that not everyone in the galaxy would accept a human excelling in this way. Some would see it as a threat, others as an anomaly to exploit. Already, whispers of sabotage began circulating among the rival factions. Kalira had to act, not only as an observer but as a protector and strategist. After a series of victories, Marcus returned to the resting area. His body was tired, but his mind was sharp, analyzing each fight, learning from each opponent. Kalira approached him once more, her expression serious now. There are forces that do not want you to succeed. Some will try to manipulate matches, others may attempt direct harm. You must be vigilant, Marcus nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. I will stay aware. I cannot control everything, but I can control my own actions. His calm acceptance was both reassuring and unsettling to Kalira. Few could maintain such focus in the face of growing danger, yet he did. The next day, the threats became more visible. One of the arena's officials, a stern-looking alien with long arms and sharp eyes, approached Marcus during training. You should know, he said in a low voice, there are factions who do not want you to advance. Some will attempt to cheat. Some may even attack you before your matches. Take caution. Marcus remained composed. I understand. I will continue to train and stay alert. That is all I can do. Kalira watched silently, noting how the human handled pressure without panic. She realized that this resilience, combined with his skill, made him not only a fighter but a symbol. If he continued to succeed, he could change perceptions across the galaxy about humanity. And that was exactly what she wanted to see. As the sun set again, casting long shadows across the arena, Kalira and Marcus prepared for the evening's matches. The tension was palpable. The crowd had grown larger, their excitement mingled with curiosity and skepticism. Marcus stepped onto the platform, ready to face the next opponent, a veteran known for ruthless efficiency and unparalleled speed. The fight began immediately. The veteran struck with precision, but Marcus moved with fluidity, countering every attack. The crowd gasped repeatedly as he dodged, parried, and neutralized moves that would have crushed most fighters. The veteran attempted to adapt, but Marcus anticipated and responded instinctively, turning the battle into a display of human skill that seemed almost impossible. Kalira watched, her heart beating faster with each motion. She knew that the human skill was extraordinary, but it was his composure, his focus, and his understanding of combat that truly set him apart. Every move was measured, every action intentional, and yet it all seemed effortless. By the end of the fight, the veteran was disarmed and defeated. The arena erupted into cheers and astonished murmurs. Marcus bowed slightly, acknowledging the crowd with humility. Kalira approached him immediately, her eyes shining. "You continue to surprise me," she said. "But the real challenge is ahead. Be ready." Marcus nodded, understanding that the greatest trials were not just physical but political, strategic, and mental. He would need allies, insight, and unwavering focus to navigate the dangerous path before him. Kalyra, now fully committed, would be at his side, ready to guide and protect without interfering. As the day ended, Marcus reflected on his journey. Each fight, each opponent, and each challenge had taught him more than he had expected. Yet he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous. But he was human, unarmed, and unstoppable in ways few could comprehend. And Kalyra's presence reminded him that even in the face of uncertainty, he was not alone. Together, they would face the tournament, the conspiracies, and the challenges of a galaxy that had never fully believed in humanity. And as night fell over the arena, Marcus prepared for the battles to come, ready to prove that skill, intelligence, and instinct could triumph over the impossible. The arena buzzed with tension as Marcus walked through the corridors toward the next match. The day had begun quietly, almost deceptively calm, but he could sense that something had shifted. Whispers traveled through the crowd, and even the staff seemed to glance at him more frequently than usual. Kalyra walked beside him, her presence both reassuring and commanding. Her eyes scanned the surroundings constantly, noting every unusual movement and every subtle glance that might indicate trouble. "You feel it too, don't you?" Kalyra asked, her voice low but steady. Marcus nodded slightly. "Yes, something is different today. I am not sure what, but I feel it." Kalyra's expression hardened. "There are those in this arena who do not want a human to succeed. You have proven skill beyond imagination, but skill alone may not protect you. Politics, jealousy, and fear are stronger than blades in many cases." Marcus remained quiet, absorbing her words. He was not naive. He understood that in the galaxy, strength was often intertwined with power and influence. He had faced skilled warriors before, but now the stakes were higher. This was not only a test of ability but a challenge to perception. Humanity was underestimated, and some would stop at nothing to maintain that status. By mid-morning, Marcus arrived at the training chamber. Kalyra had arranged a series of exercises designed to sharpen his reflexes, test his adaptability, and prepare him for unpredictable encounters. Holographic projections of elite fighters appeared, moving in patterns that were faster and more erratic than anything he had faced before. Marcus did not hesitate. He flowed through the attacks with fluidity, anticipating movements, redirecting force, and exploiting subtle openings. Each motion reinforced his control, and Kalyra watched with admiration and concern. "You are extraordinary," she said, finally breaking the silence. "But extraordinary draws attention. Be careful who you trust." Marcus paused, wiping sweat from his brow. "I understand, but I can only control myself and my actions. The rest, I cannot predict." Kalyra nodded, silently acknowledging the truth in his words. Some would try to manipulate matches, others might attempt sabotage, and a few would seek to eliminate the threat he represented. But Marcus was resilient, and Kalyra's presence would make it more difficult for any plan to succeed. Later that day, as Marcus prepared for his next match, an official approached him with a serious expression. "You should know, human," the official said quietly. "There are factions plotting against you. Some are subtle, others may be violent. Watch your surroundings carefully. Kalyra's guidance will help, but do not rely solely on protection." Marcus nodded, absorbing the weight of the warning without fear. "I will remain aware," he said simply. "That is all I can do." As he stepped onto the arena platform, the crowd's excitement was palpable. Every spectator sensed that something unusual was occurring. The whispers about the human's unarmed skill had grown louder. Some doubted his ability, others feared it, and a few quietly celebrated the demonstration of human potential. Marcus, however, focused entirely on the match ahead. His opponent was a veteran from the Corin sector, a species known for ruthless combat tactics and unpredictable aggression. The Corin fighter struck with precision and speed, aiming to overwhelm Marcus immediately. But Marcus moved like water, flowing around the attacks, redirecting energy, and using balance and timing to counter the assault. Within moments, the Corin was off balance, unable to anticipate the human's unpredictable style. Marcus used a gentle push to disarm and disable the opponent, winning the match without a single weapon. The crowd reacted with astonishment. Some cheered wildly, while others stared in disbelief. Marcus bowed humbly, acknowledging the spectators, his composure unbroken despite the growing attention. Kelaira approached him immediately after the match, her expression a mix of admiration and concern. "You handled that well," she said quietly. "But the next stage is where things become dangerous. Some will see you as a symbol, others as a threat. You must be careful." Marcus nodded, feeling the weight of the challenge ahead. He understood that his skill had drawn attention beyond the arena. It was no longer just about winning matches. It was about surviving in a world where perception, politics, and fear could be as dangerous as any opponent. As night fell, Kelaira guided Marcus through the quieter corridors of the arena, away from the crowd and the curious eyes of rivals. "There are shadows here," she said, her voice low. "Those who cannot accept a human excelling will try to manipulate events. Some may attempt direct attacks, others may seek to create situations that force you to fail. You must stay vigilant." Marcus listened carefully. "I understand, but I cannot predict everything. I can only respond." Kelaira studied him, realizing that his calm acceptance of danger was as remarkable as his combat skill. Most beings would panic under such pressure, yet Marcus remained composed, focused, and ready. "Good," she said. "Then we begin our preparation for the next level. Strategy, awareness, and adaptability will be as important as fighting skill." The following day, the tournament progressed into more complex rounds. Marcus faced opponents with varying styles and tactics, each more challenging than the last. Some relied on brute strength, others on speed, and a few on advanced technology. Marcus adapted seamlessly to each encounter, using instinct, observation, and precise motion to counter every attack. His victories continued to astonish the audience, and rumors of his unmatched skill spread throughout the galaxy. Kelaira remained a constant presence, offering guidance, observing threats, and ensuring that Marcus remained focused. She had never seen a human display such resilience and adaptability. His ability to remain calm, analyze patterns, and exploit weaknesses without aggression was unparalleled. Every move he made demonstrated intelligence, skill, and awareness that surpassed many alien warriors she had trained with or fought alongside. Yet danger loomed closer than ever. Certain factions, realizing that Marcus could disrupt the established hierarchy, began plotting. Some attempted to manipulate match outcomes by bribing referees or sabotaging equipment. Others sent covert agents to study Marcus's routines, seeking weaknesses that could be exploited. Kelaira intercepted most of these attempts, but the tension in the arena grew with each passing day. Marcus, despite the threats, remained focused on his goal. He trained tirelessly, honed his reflexes, and studied every opponent. Each match was not only a test of skill, but a learning experience, allowing him to adapt to increasingly unpredictable scenarios. His calm determination and adaptability made him a symbol of human potential, a force that few had anticipated, and even fewer could oppose effectively. During a brief break between matches, Kelaira pulled Marcus aside. "The shadows are closing in," she said. "You have impressed and threatened more people than you realize. Some will act openly, others in secret. We must remain vigilant at all times." Marcus nodded. "I understand, but I will not let fear control me. I will respond to challenges as they come. That is all I can do. Kellyra smiled slightly. Good. That is why I claimed you, not just for skill but for the spirit you carry. Others may fear, underestimate, or envy you, but I see potential that cannot be ignored. As the day wore on, the tournament's challenges became more demanding. Marcus faced opponents who combined strength, agility, and intelligence, requiring him to adapt constantly. Yet his unarmed skill, enhanced by instinct and observation, allowed him to overcome every challenge. The crowd's excitement grew with each victory, whispers of astonishment spreading throughout the arena. By evening, Marcus had completed several matches without serious injury or error. Kellyra observed him carefully, noting both his successes and the subtle signs of fatigue. She knew that the real test would not come from the arena alone but from those who sought to disrupt, manipulate, or eliminate him. The shadows surrounding the tournament were closing in, and every victory increased both his fame and the threat to his safety. In a quiet moment, Kellyra and Marcus stood overlooking the arena from a balcony. The city beyond stretched into the horizon, lights twinkling like stars. You have faced incredible skill today, Kellyra said, but tomorrow will bring even greater challenges. Not only will the opponents grow stronger, but the schemes against you will become bolder. Marcus nodded, his gaze steady. I am ready. I do not fear what I cannot control. I only control what I can, and I will continue to do so. Kellyra studied him, recognizing a rare combination of skill, intelligence, and courage. Then we will face it together, she said. I will ensure that you survive and thrive, no matter what shadows appear. The night deepened and the arena quieted. Marcus returned to his quarters, reflecting on the day's events. Each victory had proven his skill, but it had also drawn attention, admiration, and danger. He understood that survival required more than combat prowess. It demanded awareness, strategy, and unwavering focus. Kellyra, meanwhile, prepared for the coming challenges with careful precision. She knew that some factions would act in secrecy, others with open hostility. The human she had claimed as her warrior was exceptional, but the galaxy was unpredictable. Every move would need to be calculated, every threat anticipated. As darkness enveloped the arena, a quiet determination settled over both Marcus and Kellyra. The battles ahead would test not only skill but wit, resilience, and trust. Yet both were ready. Marcus, the unarmed human, had already begun to rewrite expectations of what was possible. Kellyra, the most skilled and respected warrior in the galaxy, had chosen to stand by him. And together, they would face the challenges, the conspiracies, and the trials of a universe that had never believed in humanity's true potential. The shadows were closing in, but Marcus was unarmed, unstoppable, and ready. The arena was alive with anticipation. Thousands of spectators from across the galaxy filled every tier, their eyes fixed on the central platform where the next round of matches would take place. Rumors about the unarmed human had spread far and wide, and the excitement was palpable. Some aliens whispered in disbelief, others watched with fear, and a few cheered quietly for the underdog who had defied every expectation. Kellyra walked beside Marcus as he approached the platform, her presence steady and reassuring. She could feel the tension in the air, the way the other competitors regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Some feared him, others underestimated him, and a few already plotted how to counter the human who had become the talk of the galaxy. You are ready for this, Kellyra said softly, her eyes scanning the crowd and the platform. The challenges ahead will test everything: skill, strategy, and patience. Remember, the more impressive you are, the greater the attention and danger you will attract. Marcus nodded, his expression calm. I understand. I will focus on what I can control. That is all I can do. The first match of the round began immediately. His opponent was a massive alien from the Rithar species. a towering figure with armor-like skin and arms capable of crushing stone. The Rithar warrior charged with incredible speed, swinging massive fists toward Marcus with lethal force. Marcus shifted his weight, moving smoothly around the attacks. He did not attempt to match strength with strength. Instead, he relied on timing, leverage, and understanding the flow of the fight. Each movement seemed effortless, yet precise, calculated, and instinctive. He dodged, parried, and countered, redirecting the Rithar's momentum in a way that left the crowd gasping. Kelaira watched with intensity. Every action Marcus took demonstrated not only physical skill but mental acuity. He understood patterns, predicted movements, and exploited weaknesses in ways that no ordinary fighter could. Even when the Rithar tried to overwhelm him with sheer power, Marcus remained composed, turning aggression into opportunities. Within minutes, the massive alien was disarmed, off balance, and forced to concede. The arena erupted in cheers, astonishment, and disbelief. Marcus nodded respectfully to his opponent and the judges, his humility contrasting with the spectacle of his skill. Kelaira stepped closer, whispering, "You are extraordinary, but do not forget the real challenge is coming." The following match was even more difficult. Marcus faced a team of two highly coordinated warriors from the Varnex sector, known for their speed, agility, and unpredictability. They attacked simultaneously from different angles, attempting to trap him with coordinated strikes. Most fighters would have struggled, overwhelmed by the sheer complexity of the assault. Marcus moved with clarity. He anticipated both attackers' actions, adjusting his position, timing, and energy to counter them efficiently. He used subtle redirections, leveraging each motion of his opponents against them without relying on force. The crowd was mesmerized. The unarmed human moved like a shadow, evading, countering, and subduing both opponents with fluid precision. Kelaira's eyes shone with admiration. Even she, a warrior who had trained with the galaxy's best, was stunned by his performance. She realized that Marcus's skill was not only physical but intellectual. He could process, analyze, and react faster than anyone she had ever known. His victories were a combination of instinct, experience, and intelligence that seemed almost impossible for a human to possess. Between matches, Marcus took only brief moments to rest. He studied the patterns of his upcoming opponents, mentally preparing for the unpredictable. Kelaira stayed close, observing the environment, reading the crowd, and identifying potential threats. She knew that the attention Marcus had gained would draw not only admiration but jealousy and danger. Some factions would not hesitate to act if given the chance. The next challenge was a single combat against the reigning champion, an alien whose reputation was unmatched in the arena. The champion's style was aggressive, combining strength, speed, and advanced combat technology. The platform trembled under the weight of expectation as both fighters faced each other. The champion struck first, moving with precision and deadly intent. Marcus countered instinctively, flowing around the attacks, redirecting energy and maintaining balance. Each move was a dance of anticipation and response, a display of skill that left the audience breathless. The champion was fast, powerful, and experienced, but Marcus's adaptability and insight gave him an edge no one had expected. Kelaira's heart raced as she observed the fight. Every motion Marcus made revealed not only strength but strategy. He exploited small weaknesses, turned attacks into opportunities, and remained calm under pressure. Even when the champion unleashed a flurry of strikes, Marcus flowed around them, turning force into balance and using timing to create openings. Minutes passed like seconds, and the tension grew unbearable. The crowd held its breath, witnessing a spectacle that defied expectations. Marcus was unarmed yet unmatched. Every strike, every dodge, every counter seemed effortless, yet it was precise and deadly. He moved with the confidence of one who had mastered not only technique but intuition. Finally, Marcus saw an opening. Using a subtle redirection, he forced the champion off balance, disarming the advanced weapon and controlling the flow of the fight. With a swift and precise maneuver, the champion conceded. The arena erupted into cheers and applause, astonishment and admiration. Marcus bowed respectfully, acknowledging the audience, the judges, and his opponent. Kellyra moved to his side immediately, her eyes shining with pride and excitement. "You have done what no one expected," she said softly. "But be careful. Not everyone will celebrate your victories. Some will see you as a threat, and threats must be dealt with differently." Marcus nodded, understanding the warning. "I will stay aware," he replied calmly. "I can only act on what I know. That is all I can control." As the evening progressed, the arena's energy intensified. Spectators from across the galaxy had witnessed Marcus's skill firsthand. His victories were not only remarkable but symbolic. A human, unarmed and underestimated, had defeated some of the galaxy's most skilled warriors. Whispers of admiration and fear spread throughout the crowd, reaching even those who had planned to manipulate events against him. In the shadows, some factions began plotting more aggressive measures. Covert agents observed Marcus's routines, studying his habits for weaknesses. Others whispered in dark corridors, devising plans to force him into situations where failure was more likely. Kellyra anticipated these moves, analyzing potential threats and ensuring that Marcus remained protected while retaining his independence. Despite the growing danger, Marcus remained focused on his purpose. Each fight was a lesson, each opponent a challenge to his understanding of combat, and each victory a step toward proving that skill, intelligence, and instinct could triumph over assumptions. His composure and adaptability were as vital as his physical ability, and they made him more than a competitor. They made him a symbol of human potential. After the final match of the evening, Marcus returned to his quarters. His body was fatigued, yet his mind was clear. He reflected on the day's victories, the challenges faced, and the threats that had begun to emerge. He understood that the tournament was no longer simply a contest of skill. It was a stage where politics, perception, and strategy intertwined. Kellyra followed shortly after, her presence reassuring and focused. "You have done well today," she said quietly. "But tomorrow will bring even greater challenges. Opponents will adapt, threats will grow, and you must remain vigilant. Your victories have made you both admired and feared. Do not underestimate what may come." Marcus nodded. "I understand. I will face each challenge as it comes. That is all I can do." Kellyra studied him, recognizing a rare combination of skill, intelligence, and courage. "Then we will face it together," she said. "No matter what shadows rise against you, you will not face them alone." As the night deepened, Marcus trained quietly, preparing for the battles yet to come. His focus remained unwavering. He moved through exercises designed to sharpen reflexes, anticipate attacks, and maintain balance under pressure. Every motion reinforced his skill, and every thought strengthened his resolve. Kellyra observed him from a distance, aware of the growing complexity of the tournament. She knew that the upcoming rounds would test more than physical ability. They would test resilience, strategy, and the ability to navigate the unspoken rules of power in the galaxy. Marcus was ready, but the challenges ahead would demand everything he had learned and more. The shadows surrounding the tournament were closing in. Some would act openly, others in secret. The stakes had risen, and every move mattered. Yet Marcus, unarmed yet unstoppable, remained focused. He was ready to face the trials ahead, to demonstrate the true potential of humanity, and to prove that skill, intelligence, and instinct could surpass even the greatest expectations. And as the arena lights dimmed and the city beyond settled into quiet anticipation, Kellyra knew one thing with certainty. The unarmed human she had claimed as her warrior was no longer just a fighter. He was a force that would challenge perceptions, inspire allies, and confront threats with courage, precision, and unyielding skill. The galaxy would soon witness something extraordinary. Marcus was unarmed, unmatched, and unstoppable. And Kalyra would be there at his side, ensuring that every shadow, every challenge, and every danger could be faced and overcome. The grand arena was alive with anticipation as the final round approached. The sun had set, and the artificial lights cast brilliant reflections across the platform, highlighting the enormity of the moment. Spectators from across the galaxy filled the stands, a kaleidoscope of alien shapes and colors, all buzzing with excitement. Everyone knew that tonight, the unarmed human Marcus would face the ultimate challenge. Some came out of curiosity, others out of fear, and a few, secretly, to witness history. Kalyra walked beside Marcus as he approached the platform. Her eyes scanned the crowd and the platform with sharp focus, noting every detail, every unusual glance. She had guided him through countless battles, but she knew that tonight skill alone might not be enough. Every opponent, every faction watching, and every subtle threat would test them both in ways no one had yet imagined. "You are ready," Kalyra said softly. "The champion you face is unlike any you have met. He has trained his entire life for this moment. He combines strength, speed, and intelligence, and he will not fight fairly. But you have something he does not: intuition, adaptability, and the ability to turn his power against him." Marcus nodded, his expression calm. "I will do my best. I will act with awareness and focus. That is all I can control." Kalyra placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Then let us begin." The arena fell silent as the final combatant entered. The champion was a massive alien, taller and broader than anyone Marcus had faced before. His movements were deliberate, his eyes sharp, and his aura of power undeniable. Every step sent vibrations across the platform. The crowd whispered in awe and tension, fully aware that this would be the ultimate test. Marcus stepped forward, unarmed as always. His posture was calm, balanced, and deliberate. He studied the champion carefully, analyzing his movements, anticipating potential attacks. Despite the opponent's intimidating size and weaponry, Marcus's composure remained unshaken. Kalyra, from the sidelines, held her breath, knowing that this fight would define the outcome of the tournament and cement humanity's place in the galaxy. The champion struck first. A flurry of powerful attacks aimed to overwhelm Marcus immediately. Most fighters would have crumbled under the onslaught, but Marcus moved like water, shifting weight, redirecting force, and maintaining perfect balance. Every strike was met with precise counters, subtle movements that neutralized power without relying on brute strength. Kalyra's eyes widened as she observed his skill. Even the most experienced warriors struggled to counter the champion's attacks, yet Marcus adapted instinctively. He flowed through each strike, reading patterns, exploiting openings, and turning aggression into opportunity. The crowd gasped repeatedly as the human moved with an elegance and precision that seemed impossible. Minutes passed, each feeling like hours. The champion's attacks grew more intense, faster, and more unpredictable. Marcus's mind remained clear, analyzing, adjusting, and responding with instinctive brilliance. Kalyra could see the strain beginning to show, yet Marcus's determination never faltered. His movements were a combination of logic, intuition, and experience, allowing him to remain a step ahead of his opponent despite the immense disparity in size and power. As the battle reached its peak, Marcus noticed a pattern in the champion's strikes, a subtle repetition, a slight predictability hidden within the overwhelming force. He adjusted, timing his movements to exploit the pattern. With a swift maneuver, he redirected the champion's momentum, sending him off balance. The audience erupted in astonishment, witnessing the unarmed human standing toe-to-toe with the galaxy's mightiest warrior. Kalyra's heart raced. She had trained with elite warriors and fought in countless battles, yet nothing she had seen compared to this. Marcus's skill was extraordinary, not just because of physical ability, but because of his understanding of combat at its deepest level. He was not simply reacting. He was thinking, anticipating, and controlling the flow of the fight in ways that defied expectation. The champion roared in frustration, striking with renewed fury, yet Marcus remained composed. He continued to use the champion's strength against him, turning powerful blows into openings, neutralizing attacks with minimal effort. Every move was precise, every response deliberate, yet fluid and natural. The crowd was on its feet, their cheers a mixture of disbelief and admiration. Spectators whispered to one another, realizing that what they were witnessing was unprecedented. A human, unarmed and underestimated, was defeating the greatest warrior the arena had ever seen. Kellyra stepped closer to the edge of the platform, her eyes focused on every detail. She knew the champion might attempt trickery or deception. She could see the tension in Marcus's posture, the subtle adjustments in his stance. He was aware, ready for anything, and completely in control despite the chaos surrounding him. Finally, Marcus saw the moment. The champion, overconfident and relentless, had left a small opening in his guard, a brief lapse in timing that could decide the battle. Marcus moved swiftly, using a combination of balance, leverage, and precise strikes to neutralize the champion's advantage. Within moments, the champion was disarmed, struggling to regain control. The arena erupted into deafening cheers. Some spectators wept, others shouted in awe, and a few silently accepted the undeniable truth. Humanity had proven itself. Marcus stood tall, calm, and composed, acknowledging the crowd with a slight bow. He had not relied on weapons, brute strength, or technology. He had relied on skill, awareness, and adaptability, qualities that no one had expected from a human. Kellyra moved to his side, her eyes shining with pride and relief. "You have done it," she said softly. "You have shown them the truth." Marcus nodded, his expression humble despite the victory. "I did what I could. That is all any of us can do." As the celebration continued, Kellyra noticed subtle movements in the crowd, factions who had opposed Marcus, planning their next moves even after his triumph. She remained vigilant, aware that victory in the arena was not the end of the challenge. There would always be those who underestimated humans, those who sought to maintain control, and those who feared what Marcus represented. But for now, victory was undeniable. Marcus had faced the ultimate challenge, the most powerful warrior in the arena, and had succeeded through skill, focus, and intelligence. The unarmed human had rewritten expectations, proving that ability, courage, and determination could overcome even the greatest obstacles. The next morning, the arena was quiet, the echoes of the celebration still lingering in the corridors. Marcus trained quietly, honing his movements, reflecting on the battles, and preparing for whatever might come next. Kellyra stood nearby, observing, ready to intervene if necessary. Though the tournament had ended, she knew the lessons and threats extended far beyond the arena. "What comes next?" Marcus asked, his voice calm but thoughtful. Kellyra smiled. "That depends on you. The galaxy has seen what you are capable of. Some will respect it, others will challenge it. But no matter what happens, you have proven something important. Humanity is not to be underestimated. That is more than a victory, it is a statement." Marcus nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He had not only survived and triumphed in the arena, he had challenged centuries of assumption and fear. He had shown the galaxy that skill, instinct, and courage could transcend size, technology, and expectation. As days passed, Marcus and Kellyra continued to navigate the attention and challenges that came with victory. They trained, refined their strategies, and built alliances with those who respected Marcus's skill and spirit. Each interaction, each decision, reinforced the idea that humanity's potential was vast and untapped. The arena's influence stretched beyond entertainment. It shaped perceptions, alliances, and politics. Marcus's victories became stories told across the galaxy, inspiring beings of all kinds to reconsider assumptions about humans. Kalira's role as his ally further amplified the impact, demonstrating that skill, loyalty, and strategic thinking could change the course of events in profound ways. Despite the recognition and fame, Marcus remained grounded. He continued to focus on skill, awareness, and integrity. Each movement, each decision, each interaction was deliberate, reflecting the same clarity that had guided him through every battle. Kalira watched him closely, aware that his victories were not just physical, they were symbolic, shaping the way the galaxy would view humanity for years to come. In quiet moments, Kalira would reflect on her choice to claim Marcus as her warrior. She had seen potential, skill, and courage, but she had not fully anticipated the extent to which his victories would resonate. Together, they had faced the impossible, navigated threats, and triumphed in ways that few could comprehend. And though the arena had been conquered, the lessons remained. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, and often unpredictable. Marcus had proven that humans could rise to any occasion, adapt, and succeed against overwhelming odds. Kalira had proven that guidance, vigilance, and trust could amplify potential and protect what mattered most. The sun rose over the arena once more, casting light across the platform where history had been made. Marcus stood quietly, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here, from an underestimated human to a warrior who had captured the attention and respect of the galaxy. Kalira stood beside him, her presence a reminder that skill alone was not enough. Strategy, awareness, and trust were equally vital. And so, humanity's triumph was cemented. Marcus, unarmed and unstoppable, had faced the greatest challenges the arena could offer and emerged victorious. The galaxy would remember this moment, not just as a tournament, but as proof that courage, intelligence, and skill could defy expectation. Together, Marcus and Kalira had reshaped perception, challenged prejudice, and demonstrated that being underestimated was never a weakness. In the arena and beyond, humanity's potential had been unveiled, and this was only the beginning.